Welcome to today's session. Today's session, which I think a lot of people, in fact, I know very few people who actually do it. And the ones who do it kind of scale, but most people don't realize that they're not doing it and they can't scale. It's pretty simple, which is tracking and measuring stuff. But then within that, once you start tracking, you get stuck. And then how do you unstuck yourself from that plateau if you might hit? But then let's start with measuring stuff. Okay. I'm actually going to start with Harry here because there's a reason for that. Harry?
Yep.
How many calls did you make at your peak in a day?
I don't know, mate. I mean, I did like 150 over 3 days. So
150 over 3 days. Okay. Well, let's put it this way. That's your front-end lead, okay? Front-end lead measure. Out of those 150 calls, were you able to, or can you track how many properties did you get? 1, 2?
I could have. Yeah, I could have tracked. To be honest, I didn't. But I could have tracked it, yeah.
But could you give me an indication? If you were to track it, could you give me an indication on, let's say, those 150 calls? How many properties did you get?
I mean, from the 150 calls, it probably got down to about 25 agents who would actually look at doing corporate lets and have properties available. And then agents and landlords, sorry. And then there was about 4 or 5 viewings that actually took place because they stacked. I think Muzzy did about 4 or 5. And then, I mean, we only actually took on 1 property.
Okay, so let's say on 150 calls, you got 1 property. Okay. Yeah. But at the back end of that, from the same agents and landlords, did you get more properties?
Oh, yeah. When the landlord's a portfolio landlord he's got like 40, 50 properties and he's happy for us to take on more.
Okay, so let's say from those 150 calls, over a period of 12 months, how many are you predicting you might get?
I think we'll probably get 3 or 4 from him. From agents, I mean, I don't know, they'd probably, I reckon, over the next 12 months, probably only 4 from 150 calls over the next 12 months, to be honest.
Okay, so let's say 4. That is what, 2.5%?
Yeah.
Okay, now let me tell you something that most people don't do, which is tracking and measuring. Okay, if you tracked right from day one on a spreadsheet or on a system that you made 150 calls and you got 4 properties over a period of 12 months, next time when you hire a PA or an admin to make those calls for you, and you teach them what to talk about and what to discuss and so on and so forth, you know exactly how many properties that person is going to bring over that period, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
no?
Yeah.
If you don't measure, if you don't track, you never scale.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Going less though, Jack? So like, you know, when you take on sort of admin stuff, say you could bring in 4 properties, would you give the admin staff maybe the target of 3 to bring in? Because you're more experienced.
Yeah, normally I would expect a 70% of what I can do.
Okay.
If they can't hit 70%, they need to be coached. Okay. If they are, let's say you can do 4 on 150 calls and they only do 1, you need to, then they should be leaving. They shouldn't be in the company. But if they do 2, they need coaching till they get to a point where they can do 4 like you do. Okay. But then remember, you need to improve your own performance as well. So you need to go from 4 to maybe 8 or 10. Yeah. And then likewise, they get coaching and they go from maybe a 2 to 3 to 4 and so on and so forth. Okay. But it all needs to be tracked. Now, let me go back to everyone. Okay. Not sure if I should be asking this, but raise your hand if you're struggling to get results. It's a very simple formula. You are not tracking how many calls you're making. You're not tracking how many viewings you're doing. You're not tracking how many landlords you're speaking with. And then at the back end of it, you're not getting results. It's very simple. You are not tracking the performance of your calls. You're not tracking the performance of your conversations, as well as those results. It all needs to be tracked. the number of calls, as well as your own performance. Does that make sense? So Harry, when you make those calls, for example, if I was you, I would make those calls in front of Muzzy or in front of me, so we could give you some feedback. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This applies to me as well. When I make those calls, I used to do that a lot, where I used to record myself, and then I'd watch that recording, or I'd sit in front of someone and say, how did that call go? Can you give me some feedback? These are two different things to measure. So you're measuring the number of calls you make and how many you converted, as well as your own performance in terms of your conversation or your persuasive communication. Yes? Harry, you with me on this?
Yeah, with you, man.
Okay. But if you're not tracking, you're just gonna struggle to scale. Okay. You need to track this, either, like I said, on a system or on a spreadsheet. Okay. Let's say you are growing your network or your groups, right?
Yeah.
In, let's say, 3 months, how many people joined your network? Do you have figures?
I did when I was going 100% on it. I don't anymore. I used to do. I tried to aim for about 500-600 on LinkedIn a month.
Everything needs to be tracked, which means the number of people that come into your network and how you're monetizing that.
Okay.
Everything. Okay. There are systems in place these days for pretty much everything. You can't start doing everything at one time. Do one at a time.
Okay.
Okay. You start tracking one thing, and then the second thing, and the third thing, and then eventually it all becomes habitual. It's a part of the process. If you are not doing that, it's almost like you don't know how many calls you're making, how many people you're speaking with, how many people are joining your network, how you're monetizing that. You don't know any of that. Okay. We, for example, started tracking slowly things, right? We track the number of people who visit our website. We track the number of people who register on the website. We track the number of people who visit literally every day. We have graphs. How many properties are uploaded. We track the number of people who join our, for example, Facebook groups. We track the number of people who watch our videos on YouTube. We track all of that. Okay. And this is right the start. Okay. We are going to track a lot more things going forward. Does that make sense? Okay. I keep a track of the number of affiliate members who join. I keep a track of the inner circle members. I keep a track of the reps group. I keep a track of pretty much everything that I can at this stage. Remember, still early stages for us as well. Okay. But at the same time, we are tracking what we can. Okay. I have tracked my number of calls that I make, and at the back end of that, how many deals I close. Does that make sense? I track one of the most important measures, okay? The amount of money that's coming into your account, okay? If 1 month you're making, let's say 10 grand, the next month, if you're not making 10,500, you've got a problem, right? If next month it's 9,500, you've got a problem, right? But if you're not tracking that, you would not know if there is a problem in the first place. You with me? Harry? Not sure if you can hear us. Muzzy?
Hello.
Yes. Are you tracking your calls? Are you tracking the number of calls you make, the agents you connect with, the number of landlords you're connected with, the number of deals you sign at the back end, the amount of money that's coming in every month and going out? Are you tracking all of that?
Not all of it. I'm getting better at the tracking element, but just listening to you, I'm thinking there's a lot more that I need to do tracking on.
The tracking involves with all the systems and processes,
yeah,
as well as your own performance.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you are not tracking, especially your money, don't be surprised. You get to a point where you have no cash in your account. You're thinking, I'm about to go bankrupt.
That part is being tracked. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. If you're tracking money, why aren't you tracking the stuff that brings in the money?
That's a good point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anything that doesn't get measured almost never improves. okay, almost never improves. So if you are looking at it and thinking, well, I need more deals, you know the average is if you make 100 calls, expect maybe between 1 and 3 deals. But are you making those 100 calls in the first place? If you're only making 10 calls, and even those inconsistently, don't expect better results, right? It's very, very simple, okay? If I was to show you the numbers behind the networks, they are way lower, like they're like in 0.1 and 0.2s, okay? But then when you look at physically picking up the phone and making those calls for property viewings and property investments, the numbers are anywhere in the region of 1 and 3% for those who are effective in their communication. For those who are not, the numbers may be lower. If you are not effective with your communication, maybe it's time to practice with us. Are you with me? Yeah. Even if you're good at your persuasive communication, you still need to keep practicing for the rest of your life, because there's almost never a point where you will be 100%. Okay. If you are making calls and not getting viewings, you really need some heavy practice. Okay. But then everything needs to be tracked, because if you're not tracking it, you would never know, or you would never know where things are going wrong, or for that matter, what to improve, what not to in the first place. Okay. Anyone has any questions? Okay. It's in business terminology, is the lead measure and the lag measure. Okay. So the lead measures are your calls, the number of calls you're making, and the lag measure is how many you're converting. Okay. So you need to know this conversion.
How do you track this on Excel or?
There are systems in place, Lavanya. I've done this previously in other businesses.
Okay.
In this business, I don't measure the calls at the moment, but I will be doing that literally from about a month's time.
So
Okay.
if I want to start it today,
yes,
let's
yes,
say,
yes.
how can I start? Where
how can you start? Start with a spreadsheet.
Okay, Excel.
And then start with the next is a CRM system. You
Okay.
have loads of these CRM systems which are absolutely free, HubSpot or Salesforce or a 500,000 others available, which are customer relationship management softwares, and they're pretty cheap these days. They start from free to anywhere up to like 10-20 pound a month.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
but
fine.
start with a spreadsheet to start with.
Sure.
Okay. But I would sign up with HubSpot. I was with HubSpot for some time. I've used Salesforce previously. Okay. I've used quite a few. There was another one called Simple something. There's a few we've used. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Jack.
Okay. Okay. Anyone has any questions on tracking and measuring? If you're not measuring, unfortunately, it will not improve. Or even if it does improve a little bit, 5 or 10%, you would never know, because 5 or 10% does not feel like improvement if you're not tracking it. Okay. And then you need to look at those measures pretty much on daily or weekly basis to see how you can improve. Okay. This pretty much applies to everyone here. Everyone. If you're looking at deals and you're thinking you're not getting deals, are you speaking with enough agents? Are you speaking with enough landlords? Are you speaking with enough people to see if you are actually getting the work done, the lead measure? If you're not doing the work, don't expect results. It's very, very simple. At the same time, making sure that you're improving your communication skills while you do that. If you want me to shadow you while you make some of those calls, be my guest. I'm happy to give you some time to look at the way you make those calls and give you some feedback.
Just a quick question, Jack.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Just a quick question with regards to having effective marketing being a telephone call. But many people are not really open to conversation. I mean, they like more of a closed conversation, like having to interact with them via messages, or they say, okay, can you send me an email or can you send me a message? So how do you open that? I mean, how do you filter out those people? Because, for example, if you're going to make let's say example of landlords, if you're going to make an open call to landlords, how would you know how would you know, how do I filter out the people? Because I don't want to annoy them, because they are more likely not the very interactive people.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question that is. Okay. Look, when you start making those calls, in most cases, not all, the percentage sits at very simple. You have the bottom 20% who would never ever do business with you. Then you have this the middle 70%. Are you with me? This middle 70% needs nurturing. Okay. So if you if you pick up the phone and someone literally puts the phone down on you, they don't need to be measured. They're the bottom 20%. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I would not measure. I know people who do measure those calls as well. I would not necessarily measure. So I would measure that I made a call, but they don't go to the next step of the system. Okay. Which is following up. But then you have the middle 70%, which needs nurturing. And then you have the top 10% who really want to work with you because they see the potential. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. But then you have this really majority of these people who really need nurturing. So you pick up the phone, they may not trust you initially, but if you nurture that relationship somehow by asking open questions or asking creative questions, you can get through.
Okay,
I'll give you an example. Okay. These WhatsApp groups are a part of the nurturing process. Okay. You message a landlord saying, would you like to help grow your portfolio or manage your portfolio effectively? You're not asking them to do business with you as yet, are you?
No.
You're just opening up a conversation. In most cases, those 70%, majority of them would join. Does that make sense? Because you're not selling anything at the moment. All you're doing is you're saying, would you like to grow your portfolio? Any landlord or any property investor in their sane mind would want to see what's happening. Remember the curious nature of humans, right?
Yeah.
And when they are in your group, now it's time for you to nurture those relationships. Share the value that you bring on the table. Does that make sense? And that is through open questioning. That is through providing value. Okay? Even though 70%, over a period of time, majority you can actually do business with. But over a period of sort of 5 and 10 years, okay? Just because you're ready to take on properties for management does not mean someone is ready to give you their properties.
Yeah.
Just because you're ready does not mean that the existing management company they're using, they may not have any issues with them. They have no reason to change. But the day they get some trouble is the day they will think of you, and you want to make sure that you are on top of their mind. Marketing. Through nurturing. Yes?
Yeah.
That's
How about these lead generation companies, which I get to hear a lot and people talk through about it?
There are a lot of them. Don't use them. I would not recommend. They are very expensive, and the return on your money invested is going to be very, very low. Okay? If I was you, I would run my own campaigns. I would do my own networking. Create a way. If you look at the system that we have at PEN, it's a very effective lead generation system of people recommending people and people recommending people and so on and so forth. It's a very effective lead generation system we have.
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
And then if you look at it, we have the affiliate program. There's 56, 57 people in that group at the moment. Out of those 56, 57, I've got about 10% of people recommending us. So about 5, 6 people. But guess what? They are really heavily recommending us.
Sure.
Okay. The top 10%. And then you have the bottom, like the middle 70%, who either would recommend us every now and then sometimes when they need it themselves, they'll call us. And then you have the bottom 20% who will never recommend us. They'll still stay in the group, but they'll never recommend us. This percentage applies to pretty much anything that you look at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you want to make sure in your business you have an effective lead generation system. And the most effective lead generation system is word of mouth. It is word of mouth. By far, it has always been and will always remain word of mouth. Okay. Someone goes and tells another landlord, you know what, I've got someone, she's providing an amazing service. Would you like to try? And this person is thinking, wow, if he's got a great service, I'm going to get it. And then the day he needs someone, he's going to call you or, whoever it is, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So making sure that this is done simultaneously, either is nurturing or making sure that you're on top of their mind. It is all a part of providing value. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Anyone has any questions regarding this? Now, how many people do I really come across? Like, amazingly, that 70% that is definitely true, is people who are like stuck. They just don't know the next step, or they're confused about the next step. Okay? Let me share with you what I do when I get stuck. And this will surprise you. Okay? Many times when I'm stuck, I just do what's in front of me. It's like, help the person next to you, the person that you're in front of you, that's in front of you. Okay? That's something I learned from Mother Teresa. You all know that, right? If you want to do something in life, help the person that's next to you. Okay? When I am stuck, this is what I do. Okay? Let's say I have a day which is very, very quiet. My phone is not ringing. There's no leads coming in. There's no business coming in. There are no investment deals to look at. I go and do networking. And not just that I do networking, I do it with full confidence that I can deliver. Even if it means at the back of my mind, I'm not sure. I repeat this. Even if it means at the back of my mind, I am looking at a business opportunity that I'm not sure if I can deliver, I still go with full confidence in. Why is that? Mazid, do you want to? Yeah.
I mean, that's the positive approach. Unless you don't try, you don't know. So
let me tell you something. Your confidence, so facing something with confidence is everything to do with your physiology. Okay? So that means if you are in that state of, you're like, your body language is like, I can do this, you're psychologically telling yourself that you can do it. Okay? And guess what happens when you tell yourself, I can do it? Guess what happens when you keep telling yourself, I can do it?
Other people
you will do it.
think as well that you can do it.
It's enthusiasm, right? Contagious. Enthusiasm is contagious. When you are networking, when you're speaking with people, you come across an opportunity you don't know what to do with, but you still say, I can do it. You're telling yourself you can do it. You're telling other people you can do it. And at the back end of it, what's happening is you will find a way on how to learn how to do it. Does that make sense? It's like you're putting psychological pressure on yourself that you need to learn. Does that make sense? This is what I do. So if you see me saying yes to something, don't assume I know it. I don't. In many cases, I don't. Okay? It's because I've learned a way to deal with it properly. I don't just go in blind, guys. It's not about going blind. It's about learning about it. Okay? So when I say I can do it, let's say I come across a finance deal, okay? I look at the deal, I look at it, I'm like, this is really going to be tough. Okay? What do? I pick up the phone and speak with someone who's more experienced than me and say, have you come across a case like this? How do you deal with this? This is what I do. I don't go in blind. I make sure that I learn how to deliver that. Okay? But at the same time, this is what I do when I'm stuck and I have less business around, I have less investments around. I go do networking. I make sure that I have enough deals to look at. And then I say, oh, I can do this. So I'm telling myself I can do it. Go in with full confidence, okay? Irrespective of if you have confidence or not. Because once you start telling yourself you can do it, at the back end of it, learn to learn. Does that make sense? Learn to learn. It's very, very simple. I put out there this morning, it's not just about the people you surround yourself with, it's the books you read, because you're surrounded by those people who've written the books, right? How many times have you heard, oh, I was reading this book and it felt as if I was actually with the author at that time, right? You're actually with that person. So learn to learn. We are launching, let's say, 2 of these apps this year. Literally one of them is any day, like literally the next 2 or 3 days, we should be launching. I remember launching an app back in 2014 of a chauffeuring company. And that was the only app that I launched. Now I have this one, then I have another one at the back end, and we're launching another CRM system. Do you think I know everything about it? Of course not. Of course not. But I'm still going in. But I'm making sure that I learn everything at the back end of it. So learn to go in with full confidence, especially when you're stuck. You wake up and you don't know what to do. Go do networking, spend half an hour doing networking, and then work on the thing that's in front of you. Do you have any deal in front of you? If not, go to Zoopla. The first deal you come across, go analyze it. See if it stacks up. Raise your hand if you still don't know how to analyze any deal, like any kind of deal. Buy to let, HMOs, development deals. Raise your hand if you still don't know how to analyze a deal.
As I requested some of the deals, I couldn't. Not the
Yes,
HMO.
Lavanya, I'll work with you on that. Yes, we need to work on that. Okay.
That's right.
Can you just remind me either today, if not tomorrow? Okay.
No problem.
I'll work on that. But raise your hand if you still don't know how to analyze deals. I really need to know who can't analyze deals. Okay. Because I really want to help you out so you can analyze deals. But just go to Zoopla, the deal that you come across the first, go and analyze it. Kalpana, I'll help you with that. Okay. But analyze the deal, because once you start to analyze the deal, you'd be like, okay, this deal is sitting at 20%. Am I interested? Do I have people who can help me out? Shall I go in myself? Or can I bring an investor? If not, can I find an investor? Work on it. Because if you don't do the work on it, you can sit there and it's like the lead and the lag measure, right? If you're not putting in the work, don't expect results. It's very, very simple. Okay. Like literally, I would sometimes sit and it's a quiet day. Okay. I'll just go on Zoopla or I'm more of a user of Zoopla, but even though Rightmove is good, but Zoopla. I'd go on Zoopla and I'd look at a deal and I'd start analyzing it. And I'd say, is this a good deal for me to look at, to work on? Is it for me? Can I package it? Can I speak with the agent? I'd start doing that. Does that make sense? Okay. And I do it with all my confidence. If I cannot analyze the deal, the number of times I've called Jasim to help me out is amazing. Okay. Like literally, I'll just call him up and say, I need a little bit of help. I need about 5 minutes of your time. Okay. Are you doing that? So I'm talking about confidence of going in and working on the first thing that you see, if especially you're kind of stuck. Raise your hand if you know what I mean by all this. Okay, I'm talking about action. I'm literally talking about action. It's all action oriented, because the more action you take, the more confidence you get. The more confidence you get, the more action you take. It's a loop. It's a loop. But it starts with you taking action first and going in with full confidence, even if you don't have it, but you keep telling yourself, I can do it. And then once you do it once, you analyze one deal, and then you go and do the second one, and all of a sudden you're creating a loop of confidence. Does that make sense? If you don't do it yourself, package the damn thing, sell it. Okay? Confidence is something that comes with results. It comes with action. But it's all a part of the loop. Don't expect results if you're not taking action, if you're not measuring the action, if you're not doing all of that. If you're not, remember, I cannot insist enough on this. Your business sits on a network, irrespective of what kind of business you're in. Even if you're a developer, let's say you're looking to just develop and do nothing else. Okay. You're going to hit a time where your own personal money cannot go too far. You're going to need investors. You're going to need builders. You're going to need plumbers, electricians, carpenters. You're going to need the whole power team. You're going to need people around you, and you're going to need multiple in every category. Okay. Like literally, you just cannot work with one single investor unless you're very, very lucky. You're going to need multiple investors. How many times have I rung about 20 builders at a time just so I can get one single job done of, like, let's say a one-day job? Because when you call 20 builders, not everyone is available. Only 1 or 2 are available. And out of them, only 1 turns up. You still are going to need a network irrespective of what kind of business you're in. Okay? You cannot shy away from communicating, networking with people and saying, how can I help you, or how can you help me, for that matter? Okay. I'm actually going to share a list of things that I tend to do regularly, which is my workout. I go in with confidence. My first thing in the morning is always with confidence. I do the first thing, which is, looking at my to-do list and saying which one is the most priority. And then I start doing those things. So for example, today I have my shareholders agreement that I need to kind of get done. And then after that, I have a couple of people that I need to speak with regarding my cases. And then after that, I've taken the rest of the day off because it's Saturday and I'm going to spend time with my family. Okay. But before coming to this training, I did 1 hour of my workout. That was on treadmill. The gyms are closed. Okay. Are you doing your workout? Okay. In fact, let me share the story very quickly because Lavanya is here. She knows, and then I think Arvind was there as well. We went to see this hotel. The guy is very well off. He's got a 104-room hotel. He's been doing it for quite some time. His health is suffering badly. That's exactly the reason he's selling into his mid-50s or maybe late 50s. And Lavanya kept thinking, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be rich and unhealthy. Okay. The last thing you want to do is be very, very well off and become an unhealthy person. So please, please go and do your workout. Okay. If you're not doing it, even if it means just walking an hour a day, it doesn't really matter. Make sure that you do it. This one is very important. Okay. Raise your hand. And this has happened with me. Someone gets rude to you and you get annoyed. Raise your hand if you get annoyed. It's easy to be nice with people who are nice to you. It's difficult to be nice with people who are rude to you. Be kind. They're not being rude with you. They have their own personal internal issues. You don't need to get rude with them. You don't need to get annoyed with them. Okay? Be kind. Does that make sense? When someone is shouting at you, do they have a problem with you or do they have a problem with themselves?
Themselves.
That is true. Yeah. They have a problem with themselves and absolutely nothing to do with you. Okay? Be kind. Okay?
But then would you entertain them, Jack? Come on.
No entertainment, but you're still kind. You still smile.
I fell out with somebody after our Blackpool trip because that person started just having a dig at me saying you felt comfortable traveling with people you didn't really know well and you hardly seen me. And I was like, I'm not going to get into this. I just didn't respond.
You don't let people drag you down. I'm saying be kind. That's all I'm saying. You don't need to drag people, you don't let people drag you down, but I'm talking about be kind. Okay. I'll tell you what happens. If those people ever start to learn about their life and themselves, they will come back to you. And they'll become really good friends. I know a lot of people who've been rude to me and they've come back and said, well, I'm surprised that you were never rude to me. Okay. I don't get rude with people irrespective of how rude they are to me. Okay. I'm always kind. Why am I sharing this? This is all about getting unstuck with your life. Okay. This is very, very important. All this is when you are stuck with your life, there's a reason. Okay. Let me pick on this. Without naming, yesterday we were doing the event, and Lavanya, you were hosting this. Can I see you, Lavanya?
Yes, Jack. Yes.
The woman who got difficult at the end. She had a problem with herself. Okay. Yeah. You just need to be kind. The day she learns about herself and her life, she's gonna realize that these people were not rude with me.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you turn out and be rude with them, guess what happens? She was just insecure about her own life and her achievements. That's all it is.
And she's not. She's in a good position as well. She works for a council, social housing association, I think, and her daughter was in a good position too. I don't know why she was very
She was insecure about her own achievements. That's all.
Yeah, Mazzy is laughing too. I can see that.
But just be kind, okay? Even if she's at some point watches this video, okay? She may or may not recognize it's her. We're not naming anyone, but I'm saying that just be kind, because you'll be surprised when you're kind with people. It just comes back to you. You will literally have people calling you and saying, you know what? You've been so kind to me. I've got someone I want to recommend to you. I've literally, the words I'm using is exact words someone has used with me. You've been so kind to me. I'd like to, reciprocate, and I'd like to recommend you to someone, a friend of mine, and he's looking for some help. Can you help them? Okay. You will be surprised how far kindness actually goes. Okay. Now, Mazzy, this is for you. When I asked you to think long term, did you create a vision? Did you imagine? It's like vivid imagination. Did you try and picture where you wanted to be after that?
When you asked me to do what? Sorry, Jack.
So when we were talking about your long-term plan, did you create like a vivid? It's like imagining, like a vivid imagination. It's like you are thinking in your mind, this is the kind of life and business I want to create. Did you do that?
Yeah.
To some extent?
Yeah, I did. It didn't have as much detail as you then pushed me to have, but I did actually have a bit of that.
Until you're not obsessed with that imagination, you will not get there. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. I repeat that. If you are not obsessed with that imagination or vision of yours, you will not get there. Start to draw, start to write, start to see what kind of house you want to live in. Start to write what kind of business you want to have, how many hours you want to work in it. Start to draw, it's almost like you're creating your life the way you want to. And I'm talking about absolute obsession. Now, some of you might turn up and say, well, obsession can be unhealthy. I'm not talking about unhealthy obsession. I'm talking about healthy obsession. I'm talking about you working 8, 10, 12 hours a day rather than 20 hours a day. Okay? I'm talking about working 6 days a week, not 7 days a week. Okay? Anyone who tells you to go and work 7 days a week can go to hell. Okay? Just don't do that. You're going to burn yourself out. Okay? I've done that. I've been there. I know what it feels like. Okay? It's not worth it. But I'm talking about healthy obsession. Now, back to you, Mazzy. There's a reason I'm picking up on certain people, because I know that I can take their context and apply it to them, because other people may not be familiar enough with their context. Okay? So, Mazzy, can I see you?
Yeah.
Okay. When I say healthy obsession, I'm talking about literally, and I know you're doing it, literally waking up and saying, I need to make those 20 calls today. Or I need to make those 30 posts of Gumtree or Airbnb or whatever it is, right? And I need to make a 1 single or 2 single improvements which have been on my mind, but I haven't done it. Does that make sense? Are you doing that?
And you both take 2 sugar.
I need to do more of it.
Sorry?
Okay. So I'm talking, I can see you have noise behind you, but I'm talking about obsession for your vision, because if you are not waking up every day and saying, I'm going to at least improve one thing today, that's going to improve my business, and that is every day at least one, maybe 2 or 3 if possible, but at least one, you are not obsessed with your vision. Okay? Like literally waking up and saying, one thing that it will take 5, 10, 20 minutes, half an hour a day. Hey, little gorgeous. If you are not doing that, you don't have a obsession for your vision. Okay? And that needs to be done on a conscious level every single day. Because when you look back at the year, you would have done what, 300 improvements. If you do one a day, and that's 6 days a week, that is almost 300 improvements a year. And if you did 300 improvements and every single one of them brought in 0.1% improvement to your business, that's 36%, or sorry, 30% improvement in your business. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Compounding, not just the beautiful nature of compounding in terms of money, but this applies to everything in your business. Compounding at conscious level of improving your business, compounding at conscious level of improving your communication, compounding at everything that you do every single day. Raise your hand if you have any questions, please.
Jack,
yes, go ahead. Yes.
So key areas, what are the keys areas to improve in every business? So I know like the sales and marketing, but are there more? I know there's going to be more, but I just want to write a list of them.
Of course, yes. So you normally need to start from research. You know, the guide that I shared with you, that actually has a step-by-step process of everything that you cover in your business. So you start with your research every day.
Which guide? Oh, the setup guide, like market research on the business and all that.
No, I have another guide which I've shared. If you haven't got access to that, ask me, I'll share it with you again. But in that, I've actually written step-by-step things that you need to do. So it's right starting from your research down to your sales, your marketing, your operations, to your post-sales and everything else around it. Okay. And then your systems and processes and pretty much everything. But priority always and will always remain sales. Okay, because if there's not enough money coming in, you've got the biggest problem, which is the elephant in the room, and that always needs to be the case. But at the same time, if you are a property developer, if you're developing and you're looking to invest, your main target is to make sure that enough deals are coming through. Because if there's not enough deals coming through, then you can't develop or you can't make improvements. At the same time, simultaneously making sure that there are not investors on board. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything okay with your eye, buddy?
I got a sty, mate. I literally can't see it of that eye.
I get them as well. And they're really bad. They're really bad. That's okay. I would like this is something that I do pretty much every day. At least 10 minutes a day, reflecting back on your day. Okay. Why am I saying that? Is because look back at your day and say, did I criticize someone or did I encourage someone? The people that are surrounded by me, do they feel encouraged or do they feel criticized? That's one of the things to reflect on. Also reflecting back on your day in terms of how it went in terms of the communications you had, the meetings you had, the things that you did, what you can improve, everything else. But also the fact that did you encourage people or did you criticize people? Very, very important. Raise your hand if you feel that people around you are feeling encouraged. Raise your hand if around you people feel discouraged. Just be very, very aware. If people around you are feeling discouraged, you'll be surprised why you cannot attract more people. Okay? You need to learn how to encourage people and you need to do it very, very consciously. Okay? I'm going to go through a list that I've actually written for myself. Okay? Stop watching TV. I haven't watched much TV for God knows 15 years. Okay? I do watch a little bit now and then these days. I watch pretty much every day, but maybe about half an hour a day. But for about 10 years of my life, I did not watch any TV, especially stop watching news. You'd be surprised how many times something major happens and people will come and tell you when you don't watch TV. Okay? Learn to treat your business like it's your museum. What do I mean by that? Raise your hand. You see the likes of iPhone, right? Anyone wants to answer this for me? Mazi, do you want to answer this for me?
I'm trying to figure out what you mean by museum.
Okay, so treat your business as if literally everything needs to be immaculate. Everything needs to be top notch, 10 on 10. Everything.
Is it the morning, Jack? You okay, bro?
Morning, Sati. Yeah, good yourself?
Yeah, sorry, I've just come back from an hour and a half non-stop boxing training session. I joined on about 10 minutes later, but I'm breathing very heavily at the moment. But
what with Harry? What happened to Harry's eye?
No. But he needs to put a tea bag on it. I get them a lot as well. I usually put tea bag on it, and it helps basically get rid of it. I think it's the perception, not perception. It's the, you know, like when someone comes to your home, and like I'm going to give an analogy here, and you have a visitor, and you want to make, you know, like people are house proud housewives. You want to give that kind of same look and feel, the professional feel look. You know, it's a nice kind of environment when someone basically, is that what you're saying? Is in the experience of that?
What I'm saying is that when you walk into a museum,
yeah,
and you're like, wow, like you walk into Natural History Museum, okay?
Yeah.
You go there and you cannot forget, okay?
Yeah,
like literally, I remember images, even though I went there about 10 years ago, okay? I can remember images. It's because everything is so immaculate, everything to perfection, that you cannot forget.
Yeah, true.
Is your business like that? Is your business like that? Are you treating your business like a museum where you're not prepared to take any crap, and you're creating an amazing experience in your business? That's what I'm talking about. Okay? Let's say if you're a developer, you're developing something. Someone comes into your house, do they say wow? And you'd be surprised how little money it takes to say wow. You'd be surprised, like literally surprised how little money it takes to make a place wow. Okay? It does take time, but it takes very little money. Okay? If let's say you are a service accommodation provider, someone walks into your house, or let's say even when they're booking online, and they booked it, everything was just super easy, they got all the details, they walked in, and they're like, wow, have I only just paid £100 a night for this space? Does that make sense? Okay? This should have been £200. This should have been £150 a night. I've only paid £100. Okay? You'll be surprised how little money it takes. Okay? Treat your business like that. If you observe me in my WhatsApp groups, right? And a small example for you. I literally make sure that everything, as much as I can, sometimes I cannot cover, but as much as I can, to give people a good experience. Someone gets rude, what happens? They get removed. Immediately, takes few seconds. I don't leave people if you're going to get rude. Okay? If you're going to encourage people and provide value, you're welcome. Okay? If you look at anything that I touch, I keep improving it every single day to give the user a better experience, bringing them to a point where they're like, wow, I cannot believe I just got this for this. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if you know what I mean. If you create a wow experience, you are in business. You are in business, and you are in major business. You're going to scale. You're going to do really well. Okay? Create wow in your business. Spend some time every day without stimulation, which is no phones, no people, nothing. I put my phone away. You'll be surprised. A lot of people think I stick to my phone all day long. No, I don't. I put my phone away sometimes and I disappear for an hour. Okay? No phone, nothing. Okay? Spend time without stimulation every single day. People who drain your energy, walk away from them. Write gratitude if you don't do it every day. Raise your hand if you don't do on every day, practice gratitude. Some of you have spent some time with me. Those who have, especially if you've had a lunch or a dinner with me, have you seen me praying after my lunch or dinner or breakfast, whatever I eat? Raise your hand if you've seen me. So my normal is that when I'm having my meal, after when I've finished my meal, for about 10-20 seconds is saying thank you to God. Okay? You'll be surprised how much it changes in your life. You start to focus on things that you have rather than you don't. Raise your hand if you focus too much on what you don't have. Raise your hand. Please be honest with me here. Okay, raise your hand if you focus on what you don't have.
Focus in a good way.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yes, there is focusing on stuff that you don't have to get inspiration, and there's focusing on stuff that you don't have in a negative way.
Exactly. Not in a negative way.
Okay. I used to do that a lot. These days, for about 10 years or so, or maybe longer, I practice gratitude every single day. Every single day. And that's always habitual after my meals, which is as soon as I finish my meal, this is normally what I do. I have my eyes closed and I have my hands folded, and I say, thank you, God, for providing us a meal. And like I said, you'll be surprised how it literally changes your physiology and everything that you do in your life. Like literally, practice that every day. Come back and speak with me about 10 days later. Okay? Create images of things that you wouldn't want to attract. I know it's law of attraction, but obviously it's backed up by your action. But if you visualize, it does help. The kind of house you want to live in. Please, please, please draw a picture of the kind of house you want to live in. Okay? Because I promise you, if you do it and you back it up by action, it will not take you any more than 5 years to get there. Please do that for me. Okay? I promise you, if you draw the kind of house you want to live in and you back it up by action, you will get there in 5 years to the max. Okay? You may get there earlier. Okay? Please do that. Raise your hand if you do that already. Draw the.
I have a vision board.
Yes, but you need to draw it. You need to write it. You need to have more detail into it. The kind of colors you want to use, the kind of carpet you want to use, the kind of flooring you want to have, the kind of size you want to have, the kind of garden you want to have. Have more detail into it. It will actually encourage you a lot more. Raise your hand if you don't read or listen to books on regular basis. Those who have written, those who are raising their hand, you've got a major problem to handle. Okay? And I know not many people will tell you this, but maybe Muzzy can tell you this. Muzzy, open up your mic and tell them what happened when you first met me or first time you joined us. Please do.
Jack spent my money.
tell them in exact words what happened.
This is what happened. I had signed up to the Amazon Audible, which was the monthly one, $7.99, and it gives you 1 credit a month. And so I was just tied up to reading one book a whole month. And then one of the days that I met Jack, he just took my phone and signed me up to a 24 credit for the year, which cost like £105. And I didn't have much money in my account, so he just wiped it out. But ever since then, I've been reading a lot more. It's absolutely amazing. So now,
and what has changed?
quite a lot, because the thinking process completely changed. Now I'm actually reading one book a week rather than one book a month. And a lot of the things that I'm picking up from the books are being utilized. It's just awesome. It's just absolutely awesome. Besides the fact that it's cheaper than the $7.99 actually, because you get to get more credits for less money.
Okay. So guys, I actually literally took his phone from his hand and I said, do you have £100 and something in your account? And he said, yes. I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go and spend that £100 of yours. Okay. So I literally took the phone from him and signed him up to the 24 credits, which is practically £4 and I don't know, 20 pence a book. Okay. A book cannot be any cheaper than that. And then when you sign up to that, so to kind of make a point here is that if you are not reading, you are missing out on absolutely major stuff, like literally being in the shoe of Warren Buffett, or in the shoe of Elon Musk, or being in the shoe of, Larry Page, or being in the shoe of any of these amazing entrepreneurs. You are missing being in their shoe. Imagine you wake up and you read a book called What Would Google Do? And you take that thinking and you start to apply that thinking to your business. Now, Google is a $2 trillion business. Do you think you can create a $200 million business at the back of it? If they can do 2 trillion, I'm pretty sure you can do a very small 1% of that. A 1% of that would still be a lot of money. Okay, that's what you are missing. Okay, I cannot insist my life. If you don't want to do anything that I've ever shared with you, don't. Just start reading. That's one thing you want to do. Okay. Raise your hand if you are scared of change in your life. You are going to struggle to grow. Okay. You need to be inspired by change. Okay. Like literally, I wake up every day and I cannot tell you, this is what I used to be like that in my 20s. I was scared of major changes. Nowadays, I wake up and I cannot wait for a major shift, major change. It's like something major is changing, and what's the gap? What's the opportunity there? Major movement. Okay. And then you kind of take advantage of that. So expect major changes in your life if you want to really massively grow. Okay. So instead of being scared, you need to change that in your mind to being inspired. Something I'm going to share with you, which has made me, like, I got unstuck from this problem major, big time. Okay. There was one person in my life that I really hated. One person. Till I was about 33, 34. And one day I said to myself, the reason I hate this guy is obviously he's a really bad person. Okay. But the reason I hate as this person is because the negative energy is coming from me. Does that make sense? And I just decided one day, I said, I'm just not going to hate this person. He is what he is. I'm not going to just meet him. I'm not going to talk to him. If I ever see him, I just say hi and move on. But I remove that negativity from inside me. Okay. I promise you one thing, the things that have changed in my life since then is like, you know what? I don't hate anyone. I have no negative feelings for anyone. And the amount of energy and confidence that I get from that is absolutely amazing. I have absolutely zero negative feelings for anyone in the world. I know a lot of people who've done wrong to me, people who haven't paid my money, people who've kind of backstabbed me, people who've kind of done wrong things to me, loads of people. Okay. I have absolutely zero negative feelings for them. And guess what it does? You might ask me, what does it do? It literally pushes you so forward, because now you have all your energy, that negative energy, pushing you into action. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if you really know what I mean. If you maybe tried applying this. Okay? Like literally you're taking all your negative energy. And remember, the dark energy, the dark force that we have inside us is very, very strong. Okay? You're taking all of that and then you're pushing it towards action. Okay? And then you get so much growth. Okay? It's amazing what happens when you do that. Okay? Anyone has any questions so far? Okay? Very, very important. If you have anyone in your life that you're annoyed with, irrespective of who they are, family, friends, colleagues, let me tell you seriously, mom, dad, siblings, your aunts, uncles, it doesn't really matter who it is. If you've got some negative feeling for them, please, that is your dark force and it is very, very strong. Use it in action, not towards them. Okay? It's almost like you are annoyed, you're angry, you're frustrated. Pick up the phone, go online, get the work done. Use that negative force towards action. And you'll be surprised. The positive side of us in comparison to the negative side is very, very strong. Okay? If you use that negative energy into action, you'll be surprised what kind of results you will get. Okay? Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Okay? When you are angry and you go to do your workout, how strong of a workout do you do? Okay? Applies to your business. You are angry. Shift that energy into picking up the phone and making calls, analyzing deals, like literally researching, improving your business. Okay? You'll be surprised. You'll get twice as much done when you are in a positive state of mind. Positive is very weak, unfortunately. Okay? Negative is very, very strong. Learn to direct that energy into your action.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Chetan.
Sorry. So I have a question. The example you gave about your friend and obviously the negative energy we are talking about. How easy was it for you to take that person out from your mind? Because what happens? Yeah, because I have experienced a similar thing, and where someone in my life came and he literally showed me that I'm nothing and I value nothing. I value zero. Well, I still achieved my goals, and as on date, I know that I'm much better as compared to them, but still sometimes it gives me a nightmares. I'm not able to forget their words. I'm not able to forget them. And sometimes when I try to achieve new things, and if I'm not able to achieve that, I'm having those people, their words, their actions in my mind, and I'm not able to take that out. And I think that's affecting me a lot. That's what I personally think. So I don't know if you can help on this because you have a similar experience.
Chetan, this is what I do, okay? When I'm angry at them or when I'm frustrated or annoyed at them, instead of sitting there and thinking, move into action. So do the work. Okay?
Yeah.
At the same time, there's 2 or 3 things going on here at the same time. First of all, never ever think that you're better than anyone. Ever. Never. Because the day you think, that's coming from ego. Okay? You're nor better nor worse than anyone. You're exactly the same as everyone else. Okay?
Yep.
Yes, you may be able to bring more value to other people's life, but that still doesn't make you better in any way. Okay? Saying that I'm better comes from ego. It doesn't come from reality. Reality is we are all equal. Okay? Just that maybe you can bring more value. Doesn't make any difference. At the same time, like I said, when you are angry, okay, go and do your workout. Come back and do your work and do the work that is most important. Because when you are, it's almost like when you are really it's almost like you're in that negative state and negative energy. Okay? You can get a lot more done. Instead of making 2 calls, you could be making 4 at the same time. You could be making 10 calls. You could be making 20 calls. You could be doing a lot more work in that same energy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Don't spend time in that thinking. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
At the same time, there's one more thing happening in that is they made you feel worthless. It's their opinion, and other people's opinion is not who you are. It's your own opinion that matters. When you look in the mirror, and I'm not saying just you, it applies to every one of us, including me. Who do you see? That's what matters. Okay? When I look in the mirror, I see a very, very confident and a very, very successful person. And that's exactly what I've become. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Someone else's opinion, I repeat that, someone else's opinion is not who you are. And when I say someone else, it applies to everyone. Your parents, your siblings, your wife, your kids, your family, it applies to everyone. You are not their opinion. You are who you see yourself as. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. At the same time, like I said, instead of spending time in that thinking mode, spend it on action. And that action could be whatever you like. It could be your workout. It could be your research. It could be your calls. It could be whatever you like it to be. Okay. I can tell you, I hated that person with every core of my being. Okay. I still don't like the person. I don't want to see him. If he comes across me, I just say hi and move on. I don't have to like him, but I don't have to hate him. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Someone's got noise behind them. Can you mute yourself, please? Okay. Why am I sharing all of this? It will improve your performance massively. Okay. I'm not talking about a 1-2% improvement in your performance. I'm talking about 120% improvement in your performance. Okay. Like you go and take this negative energy and you start to apply it on your health or your business. You'll be surprised at how much you can get. Has anyone tried doing this? You're angry or annoyed at something and you jump on a treadmill? Raise your hand if you've tried that. You will do double the workout. I think I have Sajal here. Did you do double the workout?
So I've been doing 10K runs or 10K run walks every day.
Okay.
And I think the last couple of weeks I've had a lot of issues that you know of, and the speed that I actually ran at, usually it'd be about 1 hour 45. I was doing it in 1 hour 25.
Yeah.
So it's helped in that way.
Yeah. Use that negative energy, but remember, don't remain in that thinking mode. It doesn't help. Come out of that thinking mode. Either you want to listen to music or whatever, but come back to thinking mode and learn to take that negative energy and apply it into action on your business as well. You'll be surprised, like you can get 20, 30, 50, 100% more. I can tell you days when I've woken up in this negative energy and I do 3 times the work. Literally 3 times the work. It's almost like I've done 3 days work in a single day, just because I woke up with that negative energy.
But Jack, I think what I'm struggling with also is trying to fit everything around my full-time job as well.
I understand that.
Because where I've got like an 8:30 to 5:30 job, it's trying to juggle every other thing as well in there. That I think that's where my little struggle's coming from too.
I can understand that. Again, it's almost like, this is what I would do if I was you, okay? I finish my work at 5:30, I'd come home, I'd come home, or if you work from home, I'd have my meal or eat something so I have energy, drink plenty of water, take a little bit of rest, but then I'd start working and say, I'm going to work another 3 hours and I'm going to work with full force.
So what I'm doing at the moment is, as soon as 5:30 hits, I go and do my 10K. Okay. By that time, I'm coming home at 7 o'clock.
Okay. And then after that, you get some rest, drink some water, eat something. 8 o'clock, 7:30, yeah?
Yes.
But from 7:30 till 12, you've got time.
Yes.
Don't watch TV. That doesn't help.
No, I think I'm usually I'm about dead. I'm sleeping by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
But you've got there 3 or 4 hours, okay? 3 hours at least. And I believe those 3 hours, if used effectively, can give you quite good results.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Jack.
I've said this a million times. I'll say this again. Measure your success not by income, but by impact. How many people's lives are you changing? I cannot insist on that. I know you guys might say, oh, it's about money as well. Yes, it is. But if you come from the perspective of changing lives, you will make a lot more money. Look at Elon Musk. Yeah, a big example for you. Okay. The kind of money this guy is making, do you think he's taking decisions based on money? Do you think you can be a $200 billion person by thinking about money? The answer is a massive no. Okay. You're going to become that kind of money or anywhere close to that by thinking about the impact your business is going to have on other people rather than the money. Okay. Like I can share with you, we are launching the Report Bad Drivers app. It's already all done up. Everything is ready. I've already got it on my phone. I'm using it. No money at the back of it. I don't know if we're going to ever make any money at the back of it. Okay. But it's about impact. It's about impact. Like literally, I remember I was holding, my daughter's hand, and she was about 2 years old. And this guy really drove past at 45, 50 miles an hour in a 20 zone. And I thought my heart actually just stopped. I was like, shit, if I wasn't holding Gianna's hand and she walks in front, that car is not going to stop. And that was the day I came back. I did my research. I actually reported this guy's police car, the registration number to the police. And in fact, literally a week or two later or a month later, I can't remember the exact timeline, but sometime later, I had an argument with this guy because he's coming straight right on a speed in front of my car. And when I stopped, he came out and started swearing at me. Okay. Why am I sharing this story? Because this idea is purely coming from impact and not income. And when it starts to change people's life, you'll be surprised how much you will attract. And then even if you see sessions that I do, I'm talking about impact all the time, right? And these sessions go out, and when I do live videos, I talk about impact a lot of the times. And if you do your business around that, and I know it's not easy all the time, but if you do your business around that, you will attract a lot more business. Does that make sense? Yeah, good. Say sorry and please a lot. I've actually written that here. Do something every day that makes you feel uncomfortable. This one is important. Embrace your eccentricity. Raise your hand if you know what I mean.
No idea.
How many people do you initially meet and you think, wow, like, I don't know, this person is amazing. When you start to dig deeper, they are another eccentric. There's just another eccentric person, but amazing in an amazing way, right? In a nice way. Yeah. Embrace your eccentric nature, because that will bring you ideas that you can take and apply in your business. Okay. Raise your hand if you know what I mean. Okay. Let me share with you something. How many of you think that I'm eccentric in terms of my food?
Yep.
Okay. How many of you think I'm eccentric in terms of my workout? Raise your hand, guys, because this is important. There's a reason for that. Okay. How many of you think I'm slightly obsessed?
I'm keeping the hand up.
Yeah. How many of you think I'm eccentric when it comes to reading books? How many of you think I may have other things that I may be eccentric about? Okay. Now, why do you think, and I'm saying this with humility, why do you think where I am, because of, what are the reasons for me being here where I am in my life? Exactly those eccentric things. Okay. I have energy because I eat the way I do. I read. That's exactly the reason I am doing this session. Why am I able to grow our business massively? Why are we launching apps? Why are we launching all of these things and growing and buying, looking to buy a hotel? This is all coming from the eccentric nature. Obviously, in a positive way. I'm not talking about going and doing negative stuff, okay? But embrace your eccentric nature, okay? Because from that comes the massive growth. Does that make sense? Okay. I have absolutely no problem any of you thinking I'm eccentric, okay? I love it because I know that it allows me, or it's just that bit of me that allows me to be the person that I am, okay? Anyone has any questions? Drink more water. Invest in yourself. This is an important one. Raise your hand if you wake up every day and by the end of the day you've not even achieved one goal that you set your mind to. Raise your hand if you are one of them, or you get days like that. I want to see who's raising their hand. Okay, you have a major problem to deal with. Okay, every day you got to set yourself a small goal. A small, it doesn't really matter what it is. It doesn't really matter. Okay, even if it means going for a walk for an hour, or listening to a book for 10 minutes, or that you're going to analyze this deal today, or you're going to pick up the phone and make 2 calls a day. Okay, I said 2. I did not say 20 or 200.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, hi.
Hello.
If you are not writing small, minor goals and achieving them on daily basis, you will not feel inspired or motivated, guys. Okay, you must write at least 3 to 5 goals every day and achieve them. And I mean achieve them. Like I said, even if it means saying I'm going to make 2 calls today to estate agents, or I'm going to find and analyze 1 deal, or I'm going to go for a walk, for whatever that may be, you need to do it every day, because if you don't, you are in a negative loop, right? You literally, it's like a downward spiral. Does that make sense? Anyone has any questions on this? Because this is very important to understand. Harry, I think I saw your hand as well. Can you open your mic here?
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, so help me. Why was your hand up, please?
Oh, my hand was up when you were saying, do you have ever days where you don't achieve your goals?
I meant minor 5 goals.
Oh, I thought you meant your goals for the day.
No, but I think with you, it's more like you've got very big goals and you're not able to achieve those.
Yeah.
You're still early in the journey. That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Even when you're in a much further in your journey, it's good to have audacious goals and big goals and not being able to reach them, than have no goals and not achieve anything. Okay. But at the same time, I actually meant in a way like you've got small goals of achievements every day. So it's like picking up the phone and making those 5 calls a day. Okay. Or 10 calls a day, or doing a half, maybe 3 miles run, or whatever that may be. You need to do those every day, because if you don't, you're in a downward spiral.
Okay.
So
what, you write down every single day, how many mini goals type thing then?
I normally would say at least 5.
5 mini things you want to get done.
5 mini goals.
Okay.
5 mini goals. Yeah. It could be, like I said, analyzing 1 deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Or let's say speaking with agents, or looking at any of these range of range of activities that you have in your business, because everyone has different activities, right?
Yeah.
Okay. At least 5, and you must achieve them. Okay. Because if you don't, you're not, it's almost like you're not motivating yourself. You're not inspiring yourself. You need to create that loop of inspiration. Does that make sense?
It does, Jack, but I think I'm still stuck in the same loop. What Sejal said, when you have a full-time job, I'm meeting all my goals. Actually, I'm overachieving when it comes to my work. But when it comes to my personal life, I'm focused on my health, my house. And then when it comes to business, I just don't have the time or the energy.
That's because you don't value your business as much as yet.
I would like to say I do, but I'm just really struggling to make time.
Remember, you only have 24 hours, right? So you need to plan your 24 hours. If you are, okay, let me put it this way, okay? How many times do I just, like, for example, I need grocery, okay? And lately the deliveries are not coming through. How many times do I delay going to a grocery store to pick up stuff because it allows me extra time to spend on my business? How many times do I just ignore cleaning the house and say, you know what, just call a cleaner so someone can clean so I could focus on my business? Okay. You have to prioritize. The problem is prioritization. Okay. If you're spending 8 hours a day on your job, you've only got 16 hours. Let's say you sleep 8 of them. Now you've got 8. In those 8 hours, you have to do other things as well. Make sure that you prioritize your business, that you at least spend 2 to 3 hours a day. If you're not prioritizing, you will not get the work done. It's again going back to what you value more. For example, with me, it's very simple. The first thing that gets valued is my health. Before coming to this training, I was on treadmill for an hour. That was 800 calories, 805 to be precise. I value my health more than business. After this, I'm going to take my daughter out to a park. I value my family more than my business. Yeah. And then after that, it's my business. After that, then whatever time I get, I spend it on my business. Now, I know you are in different position, but it's almost about what do you value more? Yeah. And like I said, I think taking out even if you do a job, taking out 2 hours a day to spend on your business or to invest in your business shouldn't be very difficult. I'm not saying 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm saying at least 2. Okay. And then I always say, if you want to leave your job and follow business or pursue business as your full-time thing, between your weekday evenings and weekends, if you can invest, let's say 2 hours a day, weekdays, and then on weekends, you spend 8 hours, that's 16 plus 10, that's 26 hours a week. You should be able to replace your business income with your job income within a period of 2 years, if not at least 2 years. Okay. Maybe sooner. I mean, it could be done in a year, but let's say 2 years, it can be replaced. So 2 years later, you should be making as much or more money in those 26 hours a week than what you make in 40 hours, and then you can leave your job. Okay. But it's again, prioritizing. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But you need to prioritize. Okay. 8 hours a week, 2 weekends, and then you have 2 hours a week every weekday. That makes it 26 hours. Even if you don't do 26, at least you can do 20 hours a week. Yeah.
It is possible. It is possible. It does help, and it is possible. But by the time I finish work, I am absolutely drained, I think. So I need to work on that. I need to just get that balance right.
You again, it goes back to your nutrition and your everything else. Do you have your nutrition right? If not, get a nutritionist. Learn about it. It's very important. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. Now you're going to laugh at this one. Okay. Raise your hand if you've never actually slowed down to see if you're breathing properly. Raise your hand. If you've not slowed down to see if you're breathing properly. If you ever get a decent health check, these guys will tell you, the ones who know nutrition and health and well-being really well, that is the first thing they will tell you. Slow down and improve your breathing, because that makes the biggest difference to your energy. Now, you guys now know where's this energy coming from? Okay. Slow down, check your breathing. Are you breathing well? Are you breathing properly? I actually literally slow down to check my breathing. Okay. That's where all the energy comes from. Remember, guys, I'm 41 years old. Okay. I am not 20. I'm not 25. I actually feel my age when I wake up. Okay. But I still have so much energy. I've not eaten. I've not had anything since morning. I'm not going to do anything. I'm probably going to have a green tea. Okay. I still have so much energy. Okay. Raise your hand and don't hesitate, because I will tell you that I have done this. Raise your hand if you've promised yourself something and you haven't done it.
Consistency is a big problem.
It's not about consistency, guys. You have a problem. If you promise yourself something, do it. You are creating a loop where you are setting yourself up to achieve, you're setting yourself up to achieve great things in life. Does that make sense? If you promised yourself today that you're going to list 10 minutes of that book, or if you promised yourself that you're going to analyze that deal today, okay, that you go and do it. Because if you cannot keep promises to yourself, do you think you'd be able to keep promises to others? Okay. Keep your promises. If you make a to-do list and say, I am going to do these 5 tasks today, make sure you do those 5 tasks. Be that person who says, I'm going to do it, and you're going to damn do it. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if you were not that person in your early years. Doesn't apply to you, Harry. If in your early years you were that person, but now you've changed and you do the things, raise your hand. Small commitments to yourself lead to major results in your life. Okay? Keep promises and then make sure you achieve them. Very, very important. You're creating, like I said, a positive loop of achievements. Remember, I want to pick on one person here to kind of discuss this. This is very important, okay? Arvind, are you here? Are you listening? And I know Arvind is a great person to speak with on this. Arvind, let's say you promise yourself that today, I'm actually going to go and do a viewing. And let's say you don't do it. What happens to your psychological framework?
Yeah, I just feel I didn't achieve something which would be very, very important for me, because at the stage I'm at the moment, I think each viewing really count.
Yes.
So I do. I would feel like it's been a proper loss of the day for me.
Okay. Now let's say if you did that viewing, how does that feel then?
Oh, much better. Even if I didn't like the property, I would really feel at least I made a move to do it.
Have you created, by doing the viewing, a forward positive achieving loop?
Yeah, I think definitely it's very easy, I think, to just say, okay, let's not do something today, let's drop it today. But I think when you just make a move, you do it, then that's a
Okay, great. You drove 8 hours, nearly 8 hours, or maybe more, just to do 3 viewings, right?
Yeah.
Was that worth it?
It was. It was a lot. That's the kind of thing I was thinking that day. I said it's just easy to say, okay, let's not go. It's it's a lot of driving, etc. You guys are already doing it. But yeah, going there, even if it was for one of them, that 104 room or whatever
it was
it is,
worth it.
It would be worth it. Yeah.
Worth it. Yeah. Okay. So create a positive momentum and a loop to achieve things every single day. That is very, very important. Okay. Because remember, we started with confidence, right at the start. Where does that confidence come from? Yes, you can stand up and say, I have the confidence, but if you are not doing the work at the back of it, do you think you can keep that confidence? You can't.
No.
Okay. You have to do the work. You need to do the work. You would want to do the work at the back of it to keep that confidence and that momentum going. Okay. Very, very important. Raise your hand if you find yourself talking about what percentage do you talk about people and what percentage do you talk about goals and ideas? Anyone wants to give me a percentage?
What was the question, Joe? What percentage talk about people?
What percentage do you talk about people in comparison to what percentage do you talk about ideas and goals?
As in, when you say talk about people, do you mean like
talking about
gossiping?
People?
Gossiping?
Gossiping, yeah. Gossiping,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really talk to anyone, so I'm probably the other way. No, I probably think I like 60% people and then 40% ideas and goals.
Okay.
I think I was there a few years ago, Jack, as well. But now people don't bother me. No.
That's good. Okay. More talk about ideas and goals, very little talk about people. If you're talking about people with other people, you've got a problem. If other people are talking about other people with you, you've got a problem. Find people who talk about goals and ideas and things rather than people. Does that make sense? Unless they're talking about people and the psychological framework in terms of learning. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I think Harry's ratio is not correct there. You say you don't actually talk to that many people. Well, he spends hours on the phone with me, to be fair. And if I were to put it on a ratio, I would say it's probably more of a like 15 to 20% on people, and then the rest of it is on planning and ideas.
That's self-awareness. That's very good. Now, raise your hand if you know what I mean by this. A problem is only a problem when you see it as a problem.
Yep.
Okay. If you decide to see it just a challenge and that you need to improve, it literally changes the whole perception of it. And then you can deal with it in a much more effective way. Anyone has any questions on that? I think everyone is clear on that. Okay. You don't have problems in your life. You have challenges. Okay. If you're not making enough money, that's a challenge, not a problem. If you don't have a good relationships in your life, that's not a problem, that's a challenge. If you don't have whatever it is that you want from your life, that's a challenge and not a problem. So as soon as you make that shift from a problem to a challenge, all of a sudden you know that you can improve it and that you can deal with it and that you can achieve it. And then obviously at the back end of it, it's a very simple conventional wisdom or old wisdom, knowing the things that you can change and knowing the things that you can't change. And the things that you can't change, you leave them alone and you change the things that you can change, and knowing the difference between the two. Very, very old wisdom. Okay. But it's very important to understand the things that you can change, the things that you can't change, and the things that you can change that you go ahead and change. Okay. Raise your hand I want you to raise your hand that if, let's say, okay, let me give everyone this example. Let's say if I died today, okay? Do you think some people would have tears in their eyes? Raise your hand. Are you living that kind of life? Are you helping people out? Okay, it's very, very important to understand this, okay? If you are not helping people in the journey, in the process, okay, you've got a life that is absolutely wasted, okay? You need to learn how to help people in their journey, okay? I remember when Dr. Wayne Dyer died, someone I'd never met, someone I'd never known anything. All I did was I read his books. I actually had tears in my eyes, okay? How do you have tears when you've not even met a person? How? Okay? From his writings, his books, and the things that he taught?
Yeah.
Impact, yes.
Yeah.
But make sure that you're living that life even if you're not writing. That means you are helping people around you. You are doing whatever it takes to live a life which actually means something. It's very, very inspirational. I did not say motivation. I said inspiration, which is internal. It's very motivating to live a life like that. Oh, sorry. It's very inspiring to live a life like that. Okay? Like literally you wake up and you want to be, it's almost like be that person. Okay? I think I wrote that the other day. It's like act like the person you want to be today and then tomorrow and so on. I think I wrote that a couple of days ago. Okay? So if let's say someone inspires you, the whole day, it's almost like you're acting exactly the whole day like that person. Okay? Raise your hand if you've ever acted like a funny person, like, I don't know, some comedian. I don't know, Russell Peters or any of these whole range of comedians that we have. You wanted to be funny, you wanted to throw a joke, and all of a sudden you start acting. The body language is the same, the tone is the same, and you throw a joke. Raise your hand if you've done that. Yeah? Why can't you be in that same formula when you want to try to be funny, you act like a comedian? Why can't you live like the person who inspires you? You can do the same. Act like them. Okay? You'll be surprised how much you will achieve when you start acting like them. Remember, every person you meet has a dream and a goal just like you. You'll be surprised if you speak with thousands and thousands of people, you'll be surprised how similar we all are, how similar things we want, okay? You'll be surprised, like literally you'll be surprised. You'll be like, I can speak with any person and without even before speaking, I know the kind of things that person is gonna want, okay? That's how similar we are in nature, okay? So remember that when you speak with someone that the person has a similar dream like yours, similar vision or similar, not necessarily vision, but dreams like you, okay? Raise your hand if you're scared of being rejected. You're scared of rejections. I'm just looking at hands if there is any hands. If you're scared of rejections, you will not go too far in life, okay? You gotta learn how to take rejections in the most positive way, which means no means next opportunity. No also means no in that moment and not 10 minutes later, okay? I've literally had times when someone has said no to me and literally a few minutes later, I got the call back saying, yes, I've literally have seen personally in my own life. Raise your hand if you find yourself complaining about things a lot. Please do. If you are doing that, please raise your hand. It's not a problem. If you find yourself complaining, tell me, what are you giving power to? If you find yourself complaining, what are you giving power to?
Negativity.
You're giving power to the negative. You're creating a downward spiral. Okay. If you are complaining and giving power to complaining, instead change that to action. Okay. When you're complaining about something, that means there's something that you don't have that you want. Okay. That's a challenge. Take that a challenge, convert it into action, and then put your energy into that. Any questions on this? Raise your hand if you've not written your values. What do you value the most? Like I share this a lot. Okay. The first thing is health, second is family, third is work. Raise your hand if you've not written that. Please write it down if you haven't, because it will give you clarity on what is it that you want to focus more on. Or when it comes to decision timing, that you're not in the dilemma of thinking, oh, what do I do? What do I do? You would not have that, because you'd have clarity on your values. There's actually a saying that potential not expressed turns into pain. Raise your hand if you can relate to this. Potential unused or unexpressed turns into pain. Okay, this is especially for people who've kind of lived a longer life and at a kind of certain age. Okay, I can assure you I have been in that space. I was very, very active. I was very creative, and I could not use a fraction of that about 10 years ago. Okay, I used to cry like I need to use my creativity. It's almost like I want to express myself. And now when you see me working on my business, I can show my creativity. I can speak about my creativity. I can talk about things that I never could even imagine back then, for example. Okay, a lot of this is creativity. A lot of this is creativity spoken as well as implemented in the business. Okay, but if you don't take that creativity and express it, that it turns into pain. You don't want to be there. One of the things that I learned from Dr. Wayne Dyer is, don't die with your music inside you. Okay, he says that a lot, which means that your creativity, your expression, your own self is used before we all kind of move to a different world.
I also heard it from, actually I think I read it from a different book, that potential unused can turn into envy. A lot of people that don't like what someone else is doing is because they are upset about what they couldn't achieve at their time.
That's true.
They see that in you.
That is true. That is true. And I'm actually going to wrap this up by saying, if you are not the beast in your business, if you're absolutely not the beast in your business, and you're not absolutely massively obsessed with your business, you're just going to struggle. Okay? You have to be a beast in your business. Like, create a skin as thick as possible, like nothing affects you in a negative way. Raise your hand if you see me like that. Some of you kind of spend time with me. You really need to have a really, really thick skin, and you need to be a beast when it comes to getting the business done, getting the work done. Okay? Like, even if let's say you put a task for yourself and you said, it's going to take me a day. Even if it takes you 2, it doesn't really matter. Still get it done. There are times when I put a task in front of myself and say, I'm going to get it done today, and it doesn't quite happen. That's okay. But you do it the next day. That means you're still in that beast mode. It's like, I'm going to get the damn thing done. Okay, if it takes 100 calls, it takes 1,000 calls, it takes a million calls, it doesn't really matter. Get the damn thing done. You know, one of the things that I learned from Jim Rohn back in the days, maybe 15 years ago, is how many times do I keep trying? And he says, as many times as it takes. So the next time you find yourself thinking, oh, well, this is a big challenge, I don't know how to do it. Well, do it as many times as it takes. If it takes 100 calls, 100. If it takes 1,000,000, you keep a track and you make those 1,000,000 calls. Okay? You really, really have to be beastie. You really have to put your foot down. You really need to get the work done. Otherwise, unfortunately, businesses do not scale. Okay? You look at PEN, or for that matter, you look at any business that I've built in my life, I've always been very, very beastie, because if you are not prepared to put the work in, if you're not prepared to get on the course, if you're not prepared to learn those skills, communication skills, if you're not prepared to literally do everything that I've just shared with you, you're just going to struggle. You're just going to struggle. Okay? Anyone has any questions so far? I've shared quite a lot of things. And remember, these are my own notes that I've made while I'm doing things. And this is all about when you hit a plateau, or you are stuck with something, or you're not able to grow. These are the kind of things that I apply. Like literally, I don't get calls one day. It's a quiet day and I have not a lot to do. I just go and do networking and I'll make those calls. I'd go and interact with people. Okay. Let's say it's a quiet week. Sometimes there's a quiet week. Okay. I'd literally go and meet people. Okay. Even if it leads to business or not, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it doesn't. But I'd just go and meet people. Okay. I'd call up a few investors. I'd call up a few people that I know. I'd ask people, do you know anyone who's been investing at this level, and so on and so forth. It's almost like you're being creative as well as very heavily action oriented to get the business done. I am done for today. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me. Mazi, I'm going to go through the list so I can ask. Chetan, any questions, buddy?
No, that's I don't have any questions. Thank you very much, Jack, for the session.
Kalpana, any questions? Welcome.
No, I think it's a very insightful session. Thank you. Thank you for.
Thank you. Arvind, any questions?
No, sir. All good.
Thank you, buddy. Emmanuel, any questions? I don't know if you can ask. Esther, any questions?
No, thanks, Jack. Thank you.
Geeta, any questions?
Just a request, Jack, the thing which Harry was basically pointing out, sequence of steps. If you could share that, that will be really helpful.
I will do that. Yes, it's a guide. I've actually shared it in the group. It's already there. I'll just reshare it. That's all.
No, the one you shared, Jack, was 100 steps. That one, the guide we have, and I've read through that.
No,
but
there's another guide. There's another guide. Yes, I'll share that. I'll share.
Okay,
that,
sure.
yes.
Thank you.
I'll share that. Esther, any questions? I'm not sure if she can hear us. Pammi, any questions?
Jack, you were saying that I should be reminding you regarding the deal analysis here today, yeah?
You mean the rent-to-rent one?
Yeah, the rent-to-rent one.
Share
yeah.
that, yes, I'll share that.
Okay, that's it actually.
Yeah. Sejal, any questions?
Oh, thanks, Jack.
Suraj, any questions?
No, thanks, Jack. Thank you.
We have a Zoom user. I don't know who that is. Not sure who that is.
Yeah, Jack. Thank you, John.
Yeah, hi, John. You're right.
Yeah, boss.
Any questions?
No, none at all. Thank you. It was really a lot that I was taking in.
Thank you. I know it's a lot, but I promise you, it's all about directing all your energy towards action. It's all about directing all your negative, positive, all the frustrations, all the annoyances, everything that you have, about looking at the challenges and saying, how can I achieve those? Okay. Like I said, I cannot insist enough that it's in the implementation that you will achieve greatness. Okay. It's in the implementation that you will achieve the major success. It's not just in the learning. Yes, learning helps, but eventually it's an implementation and become that beast. It's almost like you really, really become that person. And remember, it's not about achieving the goals. It's about becoming that person who can achieve his goals at any given time. You put me in UK or you put me in any deprived country in the world, okay? I can still achieve my goals because I've become that person. So it's not about where you are in your journey at the moment. It's about you becoming that person who can achieve his goals or her goals at any given time in any context that you might be in. You becoming that person. And I can take you from a country as a great country as UK is, and I put you in Bangladesh, a highly deprived country. And if you become that person, then you can still achieve your goals. Okay? Or I put you in any African country that's very deprived, and you can still achieve your goals because you've become that person. Okay? And then make sure that I started the session by saying, track everything. Because if you're not tracking everything, you're not coaching yourself, you're not, improving your skills, you're not improving your performance, and you're not improving the performance of your business, you're just not going to be able to, you're not measuring the performance of your business and yourself, you're just not going to be able to scale your business. Does that make sense? Okay, that's what I started the session by. So this session is all about you being able to improve your performance as well as the performance of your business by tracking and measuring it. Okay, don't hesitate to call up one of us, me or any other member, and say, can you give me feedback on my phone calls? Can you give me feedback on my daily activity? Don't hesitate doing that. I've done this many, many times in my life, in my early parts of my life, like in my late 20s. And you need to do that if you are not doing that. Okay. I've recorded myself many, many times. I've watched it just so I can understand when I'm communicating with people, that I can understand I'm doing the right kind of things. I should be doing more of, but again, so yeah. Thank you for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day. I'm going to stop the recording.